material ID and materials as we go. So let's get started. Click anywhere in the perspective viewport, then Alt W to maximize it. Now let's go over to the Create panel, Geometry, and we'll select a box. We'll scroll down to Creation Method, and we're going to select Cube. Let's just have a wee look at keyboard entry. The X, Y, and Z axis is set to 0. This will place our object in the center of the grid. Let's come over now and we'll just type in 50 for length. Automatically the width and the height have been set to 50. So all we have to do now is press the Create button. There we are, it's been placed right in the center of our grid. Press Z on the keyboard to zoom in. Now let's right click and from the flyout menu select Convert to an editable poly. Let's pop over to the panel and under Selection we'll select Polygon Mode. Now we're going to select all the polygons. I'm just going to orbit around, make sure I have them all. Okay, we'll come back over to our panel, scroll down under Edit Edges and click on the small settings icon for Inset. I'm just going to move the caddy out the way so we can see it a little easier. We're going to make an inset on each polygon, so we'll select by polygon. And then I'm just going to type in 3 for the amount. Press OK once and twice. Let's pop back over to the panel. We'll go to the subdivision mode and we're going to select Edge. I would like to use the View Cube for this video. I'm just going to right click, come down to Configuration, and here in the display options, View Cube Size, I'm just going to select Normal. You don't need to do this. This is just so you can see it a little easier for the video. Still in the View Cube, click on the word Front. Now let's select all the top and bottom edges. We'll come over to the panel. Here under Edit Edges, click on the small settings icon for Connect. Leave it set to 1 and then press the OK button. Let's select the side edges now. Click on the small settings icon for Connect and press OK. Let's go back over to the View Cube. Now we're going to click on the small triangle right on the top. Drag the cursor through the center to select the edges. Click on the small settings icon for Connect and just press OK. Back to the View Cube, click on the small triangle right at the bottom and this will bring us back to our front view. Now let's go over to the stack. Click on the word Editable Poly. Now we're going to scroll right down under Subdivision Surface and we're going to check Use NURMS Subdivision. When we use our NURMS subdivision, we smooth all our edges, surfaces and corners. I'm just going to orbit around. There we are, we can see how smooth it's become. Let's go back over to our subdivision surface and uncheck Isoline Display. Now I have more geometry to work with. Before we move on, we're going to convert it again to an editable poly. So we'll right click and from the menu select Editable Poly. And now from the subdivision mode, we'll select Vertex. Now we're going to start to create the dinted dots for the numbers. I'm going to use the View Cube again. Click on the word Front. Follow the video carefully now. We're going to start first by creating the number 6. First we'll select the first vertex, hold the Control key down and carry on selecting the following vertices. Let's pop over to the panel and we'll scroll down under Edit Vertices. Click on the small settings icon for chamfer. Here in the chamfer amount, we're just going to type in 5. Then press OK. Click anywhere in the viewport to deselect the vertices. Let's go back up to the View Cube and click on the right hand side arrow. Now we're in our right view. This time we're going to create the number 5. Remember to hold the Control key down and select the same 5 vertices as the video. When you're finished, we'll come over to the Edit Vertices and click on the small settings icon for chamfer. As it's already set to 5, just press OK. Click anywhere in the viewport, we'll click on the small triangle on the right hand side and now we'll go to our back view. We'll just select our center vertex, select our chamfer tool, and then when we're finished, click anywhere in the viewport. Now we're going to go to our left view. This time we're going to create the number 2. Select both vertices, select the chamfer settings icon, and just press OK again. We'll just click anywhere in the viewport to come out. We'll go back up to the View Cube and select the front view. Then we'll click on the top triangle so we're in our top view. We're going to create the number 3, so just select these 3 vertices. Click on the settings icon, we'll say OK, and that's it. Let's come back again to our front view. Now let's click on the bottom triangle and we're going to go to our bottom view. This is going to be number 4, so we'll select these 4 vertices. the small settings icon for chamfer, we'll just press OK. And we'll come back again to our front view. We'll go over to our subdivision mode now and we'll select polygons. We're just going to come back over and click on the first polygon. Hold the Control key down and select all the other ones. Now let's orbit around and we'll continue holding the Control key down and select the rest of the polygons. One's on the top and we'll just orbit underneath. When we finish selecting all our polygons, I'll just go back to our front view, then I'll come over to the panel. I'll scroll down under Edit Polygons, and I'm going to select the small settings icon for bevel. Let's just have a little look. The height is set to 10 by default, and the outline is a -1. The outline's fine, we're going to leave that as a -1, but here in the height we're going to change that. Just type in -3, then press OK twice. Don't release these polygons. We're going to scroll a little further up the panel and we're going to select Grow. Just press it once. That's just reselected all the inside polygons. Let's just orbit around, make sure we have them all. That's fine. Let's just scroll down now. We're going to add some material IDs. So we'll just scroll down, a bit further down to Polygon Material IDs. Let's have a little look. Here in Set ID, we're going to type in the number 1, then press Enter on the keyboard. Let's activate the perspective viewport again. To do that, we'll just hold the Control key down and click anywhere in the viewport. Now we're going to assign a second material. So press Control I. This will invert the polygons. There we are. Now let's go over to our material ID and we're going to type in the number 2. We'll just press Enter again. We have just assigned 2 different materials to our object. Let's go now to the top of the stack and turn off our editable poly. We'll scroll down. We're going to scroll down to our subdivision surface and we're going to turn on Use NURM Subdivision again. I think we'll turn the itinerations up. Let's turn them up to 2. Very good. I'm just going to orbit around. We have some nice smooth dents, rounded corners and smooth edges. Okay, let's create some materials. We'll just open the material editor. Now here in the standard materials, we'll drag out a multi-sub-object material. We're going to use 2 materials, so click on the Set Number button and we'll type in the number 2, then press OK. Click on the None button, and now here from the Material Map browser, select Standard. Just double click. Now we're going to click on it and just drag it down to the one underneath. Here in the dialog, select Copy, then press OK. We've just applied 2 standard materials now to our multi-sub-object. Let's go back over to the parameters and click on the small color slot. Now here in the color selector, the first color we're going to create is going to be a red. This is going to be the number 1 ID. So I'm just going to create a dark red like this. When you're happy with it, just press OK. Now we're going to select the one underneath. This time I want a white color, but I don't want a pure white. I'd like a grey white, something like that. That's fine. All we have to do now is drag a material over to our object. I'll just drag this node and I'm going to drag it over to the dice. I'll just close the material editor. Let's add a bit of glossiness to it. So we'll reopen up the material editor. Now I'm going to double click on the red standard material to open it. Now here in the parameters, click on the small arrow beside the word blend. I'll just select Thong from the list. And now I'm going to scroll down to the specular highlights, and in specular level I'm going to type in 85, and in glossiness I'll type in 35. There we are. I'm going to do the same now on the white material, so I'll just double click to open it. Let's select Thong, and then we'll scroll down and we'll change our specular level to 85 and our glossiness to 35. There we are. The changes will be made automatically on our material. Let's close the material editor now. We'll finish with a quick render. You can see here we have some rounded corners, edges, smooth dents, and the material has been applied correctly. I hope you found this video helpful. Thank you for watching. Enjoy!